All right, late night happy hour. Law and Sporter, tight game behind me. I don't know that I can stay out of the way the whole time because we're not supposed to be really streaming a game live, but 66-65, Michigan State on top of UCLA, 6 minutes left. So what do we got on the game? Who bet it?
I did.
Oh,
It's a nightmare.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'm trying to middle every single game, basically. And you can't always do it. You can't always get a number that you want, but I've been getting really good positions and just nothing is quite working out. And so this one I was like, oh man, I got a great position on this one. I'm in good shape. I got -2.5 plus 9.5. Pretty much just bouncing back and forth between 6 and 8 the whole second half. And all of a sudden UCLA takes a run and they're ahead. Like just you can't. It's not an easy business. It's not an easy gig to try to middle every game, but when you keep getting good positions and nothing is happening, it just kind of sucks.
I'll just stay off. I'll just stay off the shot.
Perfect.
Justin, did you bet it?
No. I just actually got off the golf course right as sun was coming down, and had to pick up my girls from gymnastics. So I'm just sitting down.
Justin, that's what stoplights are for. You got the app.
I like almost all the money I've made on betting the app, and right now, like, I don't bet a lot of money on this stuff. I just do it for fun. But I've only had to deposit once. I'm up 2 times that amount, and so I got a lot of money to chip away with, and I make the bulk of it in play. Like watching the game, watching where the in plays come in, and I'm like, oh, this, that's where I start going, and that's where I make my money on it.
Nice. We have a small but excited crowd with us right now. I have a feeling we'll get a few more when the game's over.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like, Justin? Do you feel like the NCAA tournament committee screwed these teams by clearly desiring a primo matchup, so they made them play their way in?
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, like, you're in the tournament, you're gonna have to play. You have to play some good teams, and at least they're prime time. Everybody's watching this game. You put them on tomorrow, middle of the day, maybe nobody cares. I mean, outside of UCLA, Michigan State fans, but everybody, I'm sure, is watching this game. I'm sure got a lot of activity on betting because it was clearly the marquee matchup of the day.
Adam, 6-1 ticket count on Michigan State.
I mean, that sounds right. And it was, by the way, sharp and square. One of those rare cases where everybody's on the same side, and that's really the only reason I didn't go heavier on Michigan State before the game. It would have been a massive bet for me. Except I could not find anybody. Like I think I told you I did a spot with a gambling show, and they were like, "Are you going to be the first person to come on here and make a case for UCLA?" Every single person has picked Michigan State so far, and I was like, "Yeah, I hate to join the chorus, but yeah, I'm on Michigan State too." So when everybody's on the same side and the line is not moving like crazy, it gets me nervous. So I kind of backed off what I wanted to bet. But I still did bet Michigan State pregame and then just waited for a spot to fire back, which happened to be halftime. Got the 9.5. So like I said, right now I'm at -2.5 plus 9.5. And hopefully I finally get a middle today because so far today I've had 2 shots in the air at the buzzer for middles. And both missed, obviously.
Damn.
So.
Damn. Sorry, Cameron. He turned off the game to watch us, and now he's got the game on DVR. Well,
it's going to be on right over Steve's shoulder.
Do it. What's going on, Johnny? And we got the Texas crowd in.
Oh, what's up?
Robert's in San Antonio.
I did not know what SAT was, by the way.
I know. I know from the past because Robert's talked about being in San Antonio.
Oh, okay. I was like, from SAT, you're in a satellite? Can I ask a truth for Duluth? Where can you parlay? Like, those are correlated parlays. Where do they let you do that? I mean, I don't have any book that will allow me to do it. That's obviously a very good play.
East side. All right. Let's do it. My favorite part of town. Love it. Yes,
East side?
exactly. Adam, what was the story in the RJ today about the NCAA tournament being all here in Vegas?
But that was a story. I didn't get to read it. I thought it was just a story about us getting the tournament at some point.
No. My God.
Oh, it's the Vegas. Okay, I didn't read the story, but it's the Jim Livengood proposal that he's had in the past. I think it's for the women's tournament, isn't it?
That's on the table right now. Yeah. I mean, he's
been
talking about
pushing
everything.
it. Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's been pushing the full women's tournament here for a long time. He said he could make it an event.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, it does. And Jim Livengood's very connected in the college sports world. Obviously, if anybody in Vegas is going to make that happen, it's him. I think it would be pretty cool. It would be a hit. That's why one of the reasons they started that Vegas 16 was to start, showing that you could have tournaments here and, making that happen. And then obviously the conference tournaments also kind of stepped up as well. So we're the home of March basketball, even though we don't have a tournament yet.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll track the end of the game. Justin, I wanted to get your take on what happened in Atlanta with these massage parlors. And this dude, is this a hate crime? Is it not? I mean, he's saying he has a sex addiction. That sounds like an excuse to me. What do you make of this?
Well, I think we need to know a little bit more before I'm going to weigh in and say whether or not it's a hate crime or not. I've learned a couple things along the way. Number one, that Georgia did not actually have any hate crime statutes until the last 2 years. And their hate crime statute is really broad. It says if the attack was not only against the person, but against society at large, and then has some protected classes that can justify the hate crime that center around race, gender, religion, sexual orientation. So clearly, the initial response from the police department was that, some really poor language. This dude had a bad day, and this is what happened. He has a sex addiction. So we're not sure that this is hate crime oriented. That he perceived these massage parlors as temptations to his sex addiction, and therefore wanted to eradicate them. Let's assume that's all true. And I don't like that they're just parroting what they were told by a murderer as if that's like all exactly true. But okay, let's just assume it is true. Does that mean he's out of the hate crime umbrella? I would argue no, because his victims were intentionally women to alleviate his sex addiction. So women are part of the protected class of this very broad statute in Georgia. So I still think even if what he says is true, you can get to the hate crime. Now, what does that really mean? I mean, Georgia has the death penalty. He's murdered 8 people. Is a hate crime escalator going to make a difference in the ultimate punishment? Probably not. But they said that they are going to pursue that because it could have some leverage on a plea deal. And I'm like, plea deal? He's already admitted to the crime. He confessed. Like, what the hell are we talking about here? There shouldn't be much bargaining going on. It would be like, I don't know. I mean, okay, you could have life in prison if you accept this, but no parole ever, and we'll keep you from execution. But I don't know. I mean, I'd want to know a heck of a lot more before I started making statements like what was being made by the police department and just parroting what a murderer just said.
So a couple things on this, Justin. First of all, I know one thing, and I'm guilty of it as a journalist for sure. But you kind of mentioned it there. The just taking what police say at face value. I think that we've kind of been trained to do that not we journalists, we as people have been trained like when the police say it, it's true. And I'm not making an anti-law enforcement statement here. It's just they're also people and they also have an agenda. And like we have to keep that in mind instead of like when I'm reporting on a crime of some sort, I'll call up like either the PIO or like a source that I have in law enforcement and hey, what's going on here? And then like, oh, that's what happened. Not always the case, and that's not really fair, especially to certain, protected classes that have always kind of gotten a raw deal from law enforcement. So I think that's the first thing of like when this guy says, well, this is what happened, because as we've come to find out, the officers that are making these statements are super MAGA, like borderline Q types who would have an agenda to not say it's he calls it the China virus and the Kung flu.
Who does?
So the cop.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like he would have an agenda. He wore a shirt that said Kung flu and China virus on it. Like he would have an agenda to not say this is hate crimes against Asian Americans if that is the case, right? I mean, I think that we just need to get out of the way. That's not, I think both sides would agree. Like there's probably a conflict of interest there if it's your job to come out and speak about this crime and you're making that statement. So that's one thing. The other thing,
he has been removed from the case.
Right. But I mean, he's the one that said it, so we're just all running with it now. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't against Asians, it was against massage parlors. Like, okay. And here's the other part, like a two-part fold to the actual massage parlor thing. First of all, none of these massage parlors that were targeted have had any complaints about being, not above board, about anything illicit going on. Like they have clean records. So if these were like hotbeds for, illicit activities, at some point somebody would have had some complaint, you would think, not necessarily, but you would think there'd be some known presence of that there. And this kid is in the strip club capital of the world and he's targeting Asian massage parlors, not strip clubs.
So yeah, I have a couple different points on a lot of different things you just said. Number one, let's work our way backwards. Even if these massage parlors were illicit and they were, fronts for prostitution, that doesn't make murder okay. It's not okay to murder a prostitute.
Right.
So like, I don't even care about that analysis. Like, who gives a shit? Don't kill fucking people, right? End of story. You don't get to kill people that you think are bad or you have higher moral grounds than. That doesn't give you the right to do whatever the fuck you want. So, like, that's point number one. Number two, like, as far as the, MAGA cop, let's just say this. Let's assume that he wasn't a MAGA cop and that he was saying these things. Should we take it all at face value? When dealing with these kind of hate crime analysis, I don't believe that the police are in the best position to make that determination, because without even knowing it themselves, their own inherent bias is going to come across. They may not even know it. They may be looking at this and saying, hey, man, we've looked at this and I just don't see a hate crime here. And they may not be in the best position to make that call. Inherent bias is super strong, and this isn't a determination that should be made by, in my opinion, just the police force. It's got to be, the prosecutors, the police collaborating about what the evidence shows and what people are saying before they start coming out and making opinions about what is driving this person to do what. Because the cops aren't going to be the one prosecuting the case. The prosecutors are. And I think we know enough now about inherent bias to say, what, if a bunch of people that look exactly the same get in a room together to make a call on whether or not something is hate crime or whether or not a protected class or group is being targeted, it's probably not the best idea. You need some diversity of thought, diversity of opinion, diversity of skin, diversity of religion, diversity of national origin in some of these places to help make that call so that you don't fall victim to your own blind spots. I mean, we should all want that. And so even if this dude was above board, thought he was doing everything right and didn't have an agenda whatsoever, he had no political agenda, I still wouldn't take it at face value because his inherent bias may be blinding him. You're on mute.
Nothing else, Adam. I think he's watching the game. To go back to the t-shirts or the t-shirt. Is that a fireable offense? Just wearing the t-shirt?
Oh, I think the opposite, right? I mean, they are government employees. If he's doing it, on his own time and you fire him, that's government action against First Amendment rights. Can't do that.
Okay.
Now, let me put a little pin in that and say, unless you believe that by holding those opinions, he cannot unbiasedly administer justice and do his job, I think it is worth a conversation to see how, why were you wearing the shirt? Tell us the circumstances. What are your beliefs? Because if you have a First Amendment right to believe and say whatever you want, but that can disqualify you from being able to perform the duties of an officer if you believe, for instance, that one segment of the population is lesser than, doesn't deserve equal rights. Well, then you can't be a law enforcement officer if you hold those beliefs. I'm not saying this guy did. I'm saying it may be worthy of investigation to find out. And as we know, the Department of Justice and the FBI, within the last 4 years, has targeted law enforcement as being I don't want to say hotbed. I don't remember what word they've used, but there is a growing trend of white nationalism within law enforcement across the United States. That's as discovered by the Department of Justice and the FBI. So I think you have to pursue any clues you have along that way to see if those are truly held beliefs. And if they are, then it is grounds to terminate.
And I want to be clear, because there was comments about it. Like, I wasn't saying it's excusable if you're, killing people that work in Masada. I'm just saying in terms of categorizing it as a hate crime or categorizing in any particular way. That was just my point.
Yeah, no, I know you weren't, but I don't even like the fact that we even have to talk about that. Why is that? Tell me the relevance of it.
Yeah.
I see it just routinely thrown in these national stories about that. They're like, hey, and by the way, we have no indication that there was anything going on here that was illegal. Like, who gives a shit?
It's because it's become political right away, just like everything does now.
Yeah.
But it's like if this wasn't targeting, Asian American people, then that problem doesn't actually exist, right? Because everybody went to this whole thing of like, hey, the violence has stepped up. Like, we need to make sure that we, look at this and address this. We're like, oh no, this wasn't about the race. Well, like, it doesn't, whether it was or not, doesn't change the fact that that is an issue that needs to be addressed, and it is going on. And the reports of this around the country have skyrocketed. Like, those things are still true, whether this is about that or not.
Right.
But somehow it's become a political football. Like, it makes no sense.
I'm just curious on the whole, now that we've had this China virus and Kung flu thing for a year, clearly there's been an impact, right? Like, it has seeped into the brains of some people, and that is spurring, whether this was, an Asian hate crime or not, it is spurring people on to action. Do we believe that? Having the leader of the country and other people say China virus and Kung flu all the time. Do you think there's a correlation to the rise in Asian hate?
I don't know.
I'll say yes.
I mean, I think there's a whole bunch of fucking hateful people out there who found a icon to idolize and to use as a crutch and a justification for their hateful mindset. And would these people be getting involved in all this stuff on their own without Trump getting up there and saying Kung flu and China virus? You know what? I gotta be honest. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. These people are fucking psychos. You know, I don't know what they would be doing if they weren't killing Asian people. Would they be killing somebody else? You know what? I don't know. It can't have helped. I'll give it that. It can't have helped the situation.
Brady says it would have happened either way.
You know, that's just above my pay grade. I don't know. Without meeting this lunatic and talking to him and seeing whether or not that specific topic got to him by way of Trump and he thought he was furthering that agenda. I don't know. I don't know that.
I'll trace it back one step further. If not for Trump, it would have been caught a lot sooner. It wouldn't have been the global pandemic it was. We wouldn't have pulled our scientists out of China, and so we wouldn't have even had this issue to deal with. So yes, from that regard, but of course the green light to attack them and to blame them. I mean, he didn't just say it came from there; he blamed them for it. Like that was a green light. Like if the leader of the free world, I mean, the leader of our nation, but the leader of the free world says, "Hey, those people right there unleash this thing that ruined your life for a year." Like, of course that's going to lead to a rise in the violence and the hatred.
Yeah, I think that I sort of take issue with what Brady's saying and saying that there's always going to be racist radicals. I tend to think that not just Trump, but the 24-hour news cycle, the social media, influence on our mindset. I think that there is a rise of hatred and violent held beliefs towards groups certain groups today than there has been in the past, or at least in my lifetime. I can't speak to the fucking 1800s and shit. I don't know. Civil War, I'm sure there was plenty of hate, and the civil rights movement, I'm sure there was plenty of hate there too. I know there was, but I wasn't alive during that. I'm just talking about during my lifetime. Right. I think there's been an acceleration in these last, I'll say, 10 years. And I don't think it's helpful to put a target on somebody's back or group's back when there is this kind of environment out there, that that there's going to be action based on words. Maybe something else would have happened. Maybe somebody else, they would have turned their hate somewhere else. But I certainly want to be responsible for putting the green light on them.
I don't know. I was disturbed early on with this whole thing, with both terms. They're obviously offensive. And the thing that got me along the way was you're using China virus and Kung flu. And I don't know, I guess we could crowdsource from the audience. I still saw a lot of Asian people who weren't disturbed by it, which is weird. I don't know if it was within the Asian community, hey, I'm not Chinese, it doesn't bother me. Because I think that's weird. I don't believe that racists are aware of all the different folks and ethnicities from Asia. I don't think they differentiate. So if you're, Vietnamese and you're like, well, he's smearing China. Do you think do you think this guy who's shooting up massage parlors is Korean, Vietnamese, Japanese, and not different? No, not the case. So I was shocked that more people didn't speak up about it. By the way, and we know this guy's a clown, but Mitch McConnell is married to Elaine Chao. You never had the balls to step up and go, fucking stop.
He doesn't care about anything except for
not even his wife. No, not even his wife.
Look at Ted Cruz. They're the same.
It's crazy, man.
I'm not qualified to speak on behalf of the Asian American Pacific Islanders of the of our country. and why maybe some were offended or were not offended by what was going on, and whether or not it has to do with China versus Japanese descent versus Korean descent, and how that all works. I don't know. But there does seem to be some unifying messages coming from the AAPI groups across the country. And so
Good.
hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully we don't see this again. That's all I can say. I mean, I would love to hear somebody who's a little bit more educated on these issues than I am, or you know what, just not another white dude on here to speak on behalf of it. Frankly, that's what it is. I don't want to be a white dude telling the Asian people how this all works.
I'm basing my opinion on a large number of Asian friends I have, and I'm looking at them like no one's going to say anything here. And actually, in conversations I've had, I have noticed what Brady is saying, that they're, it's obviously when we say Asians, it's not one monolith. There are people from different countries, but within that, just Asian umbrella, yeah, I mean, how many wars did China and Japan fight? There's been battles all over the place. So, I don't know, it just disturbs me. And I just hope all I'm doing is, if I'm white splaining, is just telling you that there are people out there who don't care where you're from. You're just Asian. And it's sad. And I think that's why a lot of this stuff is happening. And you're not seeing like, hey, only Vietnamese people are getting attacked or only Chinese people are getting attacked. Racists don't care. So, all right, I'm off my soapbox.
Asia is a tiny island country.
Right. Yeah, it's like, but I don't know. It disturbed me, and I'm shocked that, it's been going on for a year and no one talked about it. I don't even know what this means. Someone says, white dude, get a new hat, Justin.
Just a white hat.
Oh, okay, well.
It's a Jordan hat.
Nice. Oh, look at this guy.
Justin, to move on to a different topic, we'll flip the page completely. Let's get an update from Adam first. Adam, what are we looking at for VGK games? What are they hoping for coming up for attendance?
They're hoping to get to 50% in the very near future. That's the goal, which I will say that the difference between 25% last week and 30% this week was pretty massive in terms of like energy and noise and just how full it felt. 50% will be that much greater. I think it'll be pretty great to have that. But yeah, I mean, that's the goal for like in the next week or so. And I imagine they're probably going to get it because we're going up with the numbers higher and higher. I think Justin might know more about this than I, but I believe May 1st is when it's turned over to the local jurisdictions where they get to decide kind of on their own. So I imagine.
Well, right now, I mean, technically, as far as VGK games go, that's being decided on a local level, right? So the governor said 50% for events, but local Southern Nevada Health District has said, no, we're not going to allow that. It's not safe yet. And so that's why they were only initially given the 15%, 20%, and then, as it goes on. I was there for I've been at all the games except for one. And big difference. It was a big difference between the first game and the last game. I was there last night. And for the first time since I've gone back, they were able to pull off the fake crowd noise completely.
Yeah.
And you could actually, and there was crowd noise. When I was at the first game, everybody was fired up to be there and everybody tried to make some noise. Like, here's my theory is like everybody was screaming and yelling through their masks, trying to be loud. And then they realized, oh, we're not making a dent. And they just like, might as well just watch the game. And they kind of just settled in and were like, I'm not going to make noise. It's impossible. I can't do anything.
I feel like it also helped that it was, and I don't know if this is the case or not, but it was such a wild game yesterday.
Oh, that helped a ton. They were piping in noise for the first two periods, and then the fights broke out, and then the comeback started, and everything. And I'll say this: there was a lot of this. There's a lot of this at the game now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of more noise coming into the air, not
holding
through
a
the
beer?
mask.
You're doing this?
Oh, my
Yay!
move is my move is the box of popcorn. I got a box of popcorn the whole time, just one at a time. Just take my sweet time. But by the end of the night, I was super full.
Good move. I like that. You ate too much popcorn. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So who controls it, Adam?
I mean, that's a great question. I thought it was the state. I didn't know that there was a second layer. I know that they had to submit their plan for who goes out where, who goes in where, who uses what concession stands. I was told they had to submit that to the governor's office, and I thought that's who made the final decision on it.
You're talking about just for VGK, or
VGK?
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right now, the governor's taking the lead, or the governor, as I understand it, has given the authority to Southern Nevada Health District on what the occupancy should be specifically for the game. That the application is working its way into Southern Nevada Health District, because as of Monday, under the governor's orders, 50%, but they have not been able to go that way because of Southern Nevada Health District. You're talking about May 1st, when everything gets turned over. I think it will be Clark County Commission for strip guidance, because we have April 4th, vaccinations are going to open up to everybody. So if you're eligible right now and you've been like, wait, like, you better book your appointment now. Like, if you have the right to book an appointment, you better book it before April 4th, because once that happens, I bet it's going to be incredibly difficult to book an appointment for a little while.
When we say Southern Nevada Health District, who is that? It's a whole company. Right?
What's that?
It's like a whole company. Like, is there a person is there one person in charge of it? Do they have a panel?
Oh, you're the investigative reporter. Get on it.
I'm not the health district reporter.
You got a team there?
Sure.
For the time being?
True. Correct.
Next story up. Did you see this Twitter fight? Was it Twitter, Adam, or was it somewhere else on social media? Cardi B and Candace Owens?
Twitter.
It was Twitter?
Yeah. So
Cardi B and Candace Owens go at it, and then by the end of the conversation, they were fighting over Wet Ass Puss, the song. By the time they got done with their conversation, they were threatening to sue each other. Would either one have a case?
I don't see it. I mean, Candace is fine to have her opinions that she doesn't like this song and thinks it's a wrong message for young girls. Cardi B's fine for coming out and saying, hey, you're promoting me even when you think you're not. And, I don't see any issue with any of this stuff. I don't see any factual statements that would be problematic.
Well, the one, and maybe the particular statement here doesn't apply, but from a legal perspective, I think the question I had was Cardi B lobbed an allegation at Candace Owens that she used, like, there was a time last year Candace Owens posted a tweet and then immediately deleted it. So it could have been hacked. Not really sure exactly how it went up, but it was on Candace Owens' account, and then it was gone. And then Cardi B said, well, hey, you're the one that had this weird situation with your brother and your husband. Basically, that her husband cheated on her with her brother was the allegation. And Candace Owens tweeted that and then deleted it right away. And so she said, you're the one that had whose husband had an affair with your brother. And Candace Owens is like, yo, you're clearly using, that's a lie. And, you posted a false tweet that was obvious fake. And so I'm going to sue you for that. But I think, not being specific on this, but if you accuse somebody of something from a tweet that was fake, but I believed it was true, and I said something about it because I believed it was true, but it turns out not to be true, is there a problem?
You're fine. No, you're fine.
I believed it.
Right? You have to make a false statement that you knew or reasonably knew to be false when you made it. So can they argue that it was an unreasonable held belief that that tweet was true? I still don't know if that tweet's true or not. Do you? I mean, nobody knows, right? So by definition, like, she has a basis for lobbing the allegation. I think she's fine.
All right, let's get to a couple of prison legal stories. There's a story here. Michigan man who spent nearly 5 years in prison suing Hertz over a receipt that proved his innocence. So what happened here? Hertz would not turn over a receipt that he needed as evidence. So now he's going after him. You ever heard of something like this?
I missed this one. So he's trying to get some evidence from Hertz that's gonna prove something in a case of his.
Herbert Alford, a Michigan man, spent 5 years behind bars for a 2011 shooting death of Michael Adams, has filed a lawsuit against Hertz over its alleged failure to disclose a receipt that would have prevented him from being convicted. The victim was shot and killed nearly a decade ago. Conviction came in 2016. At the time of Adams' death, Alford was 20 minutes away, renting a car from the company at the Lansing airport. After his conviction, he was sentenced to 30 to 60 years. He wound up spending 1,700 days, about 4.5 years, in jail.
So I reading the story, Justin, like, they said they were asking for the receipt for 5 years. And when they finally got it, he'd been in jail for the whole 5 years. When he finally got it, they were like, yeah, of course, you're not guilty. Like, you're getting out. Like, why would a company ever not turn over something? And how hard is it to get a piece of evidence like that? Shouldn't that be easy?
Yeah, that's odd to me. I mean, because you have court powers, right? I mean, it's more than just saying, hey, can you give me the receipt? And they say, yeah, we're working on it. You can subpoena that evidence. And then if they don't show up and produce it, you can have the court hold them in contempt and sanction them and get this. So there has to be something more there, like they were lying to the court or to the attorneys about whether or not such evidence existed in order for there to be a cause of action. If they just were slow in producing the receipt, they don't have any obligation to you. So I don't see the issue there. They do have an obligation to respond to a court-ordered subpoena, and the court is charged with enforcing that subpoena by sanctioning non-compliant parties. So there has to be another layer to this story.
Yeah, it says took multiple court orders and subpoenas for Hertz to provide the receipt. What it reportedly showed was that on October 18, 2011, Alford used his credit card at 3 o'clock. Adams was shot and killed at 2:54.
Yeah, that's an odd one to me. I mean, I would think that there's, a number of different ways to prove that transaction as well without getting Hertz, right? Go to your credit card company. I mean, there should be a number of different ways to prove that up. So if the court is ordering it and they're not producing it, and the court is not then punishing the non-compliant party through sanctions, monetary sanctions, and or jail time, then that's a court jurisprudence issue. But again, Hertz doesn't have any obligation to give you their corporate records outside of a court order. And the only enforcement of the court order is by the court, not by you in a civil action. Now, if they believe that they can show that these people knew that they had this evidence, that they were violating the court order for the purpose of ensuring you were in jail, maybe you've got something, but it seems like a very challenging case to me.
What about this one? Does he have a lawsuit against an incompetent lawyer, possibly?
Sounds like maybe an incompetent judge, if the judge wasn't enforcing the court orders that way. So his lawyer may have been doing everything he possibly could, and it wasn't working itself out. But I don't know, because like I said, if he swiped his credit card, why weren't they getting the records from his credit card company? Seems like an easy end around.
What if he didn't? What if he didn't have a credit card? It was like I have family in Michigan, and I think every time they get a car, it's like prepaid debit cards and like they have to go through all these end arounds to rent a car. Not everybody has a credit card.
No, you can't sue the judge, Brady. There's going to be immunity there. So, unfortunately, no.
Can we fire him?
No, you have to be political in nature, right? So this news would have to get out there, and then people want to try to recall him. Or I'm assuming he's an elected judge. Maybe he's not, but if he's elected, then the goal would be to either have him recalled or defeat him in the next election.
All right, next story up, another prison story. As we're doing our legal podcast, Law and Sporter, Justin Watkins, the attorney, Adam and Cofield, the buffoons, asking questions. Paraplegic inmate files lawsuit after allegedly being denied a shower for over 5 months. My Lord. What are we doing?
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this before. When you're incarcerated and you're within the state's care, they have an obligation to care for you and provide proper health care, proper hygiene. If they don't, you have a cause of action for violation of civil rights. So, I mean, if the person has a disability, if they have something in particular, that doesn't mean you just get to ignore it. You don't get to say, well, tough shit, you're in jail. We don't deal with paraplegics here. We don't have the means by which to shower you. You have to figure it out. You have to do it. You can't deny people health care and hygiene behind bars.
Yeah, you see it here. He got to the Justice Center in St. Louis October 5th, denied the shower because the facility not equipped to accommodate wheelchair users. Eventually, they gave him a basin and a rag to bathe with inside his cell.
Yeah.
Would that wouldn't be considered reasonable alternative?
Ultimately, up to a jury, right? Up to a judge and a jury to make that determination of what is reasonable under the circumstances. Would that be reasonable for me? No, it would not. It's not. It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
Well, I mean, I guess you said it's up to the jury, I guess. But like, would a prison be forced to like build that, or would there be would the state, would it be required of the state to figure out how to move them to a different place?
Yeah, I mean that's the idea, right? Is if you can't accommodate him, then you got to get him somewhere that can. And I just have a hard time believing that providing access to a shower for somebody in a wheelchair is not possible in most prisons. Like, there's got to be a way to figure that out. It can't be that hard. But let's say it is. Okay, if it is, then you got to get him somewhere that he can. You cannot be denied healthcare and hygiene in prison. Can't do it. It's well-established law.
If someone were to say they just can't do it themselves, like they would need somebody to do it for them, would that be something that they
still got to do it? Yeah, you don't get to deny it, right?
Like, who gets to decide if that's true or not? Like, I could be lying about that.
He's a paraplegic.
I know. I'm not saying him.
Okay, but we have this example, right? He's a paraplegic.
Right. But I mean, he said he needs an accessible shower. I'm saying if he were to say, even with an accessible shower, I can't do it.
Yeah. What if he's a quadriplegic?
Right.
Yeah. You've got to bathe him.
Would there be any situation where they're like, we can't accommodate that, we just have to let you out?
No. I mean, could it happen? Could a governor pardon somebody just because it's too big of a hassle? Yeah, I guess they could. They could.
I mean, but is there like somebody whose job is to decide? Like, if I said, I got to tell you, like, showers, it's impossible. Somebody's gonna have to do that for me. Is there like somebody that makes that decision? Like, if I'm lying or not?
I mean, I'm sure it's in Nevada, it would be the head of Department of Corrections ultimately, and that person reports to the governor. And if the inmate doesn't feel like that solution is sufficient, then they file a cause of action and it goes before a judge.
God damn it. Tom had asked the question I wanted to ask. You have no idea how bad they want to know what the crime was. But also, yeah, is there any difference of like how horrific your crime is?
No.
To be like, you get a shower once a week, bro. You killed 14 children. Like once a week is enough.
No.
Damn it. Can I be the Department of Corrections chair so that I can
You do not want that job, dude. A hard job.
It doesn't sound fun. I think that's true. Yeah.
Next up, Justin, I just wanted your general comments on Matthew McConaughey is considering a run for governor in Texas. I mean, you're a public servant. What do you think about someone like that running for governor?
I don't know him. So, I mean, I'm not going to weigh in and say he's unqualified or qualified because I don't know him. I don't know his background. I don't know, what involvement he's had in politics in Texas or anywhere else before. Not that that's a prerequisite, but it's not even fair to make assumptions. Before I'd say somebody is qualified or not qualified to run for office, I'd want to meet them. I'd want to talk to them, see what's their vision, what are they trying to accomplish, what led them here, why this step. There's tons of people who probably have a lot of political savvy who I would not endorse in a political race, and there's some newcomers who don't have a lot of political experience who, after I met with them and got to learn their vision and how they got there and what their qualifications are, that I would endorse. So, I don't know, but I guess, if we go the celebrity route, there's been some celebrities who have done pretty dang good, as politicians. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think most people thought he did pretty good, dang good. Jesse Ventura, I personally think he did pretty dang good as a governor. So I don't think that just because you're famous, it means you can or cannot do the job.
Hey, AJ, go check the deficit. Get out of here. Stop it. I love the Reagan was a good president nonsense.
Oh, hey, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
Completely. I mean, the income inequality just shooting so far apart during that presidency, and the deficit just going through the roof, and yet, it's the liberals that spend all the money. Okay, just cut taxes to like zero for every rich person. That makes a good president. That's good. Go seriously. Go. I mean, your AJ's fighting back on it. Go look what happened to the richest people and the poorest people under Reagan, and how completely out of fucking control it got. Like the rich got so much richer, and the poor got so much poorer. It's insane. Insane how that's rewritten in history.
Yeah, well, I think that's a major issue. That is a big issue, and the starting of the deficit and how that all has, each president since then, other than Clinton, has basically taken their time to double the deficit, including Obama, who I believe is the best president we've had in my lifetime. But that's just my own personal opinion. But the thing that really strikes me about the Reagan era is the whole idea of supply side economics has put us in this position where we are a disposable economy. We have to be a disposable economy to keep things going. So we make shit to break, so we have to buy it again to keep the economic engine going, to keep the supplies going. And that not only is contributing to the disparity in wealth, but it has also done irreparable harm to our environment. I'm a big enviro guy, and that supply side, consumer based economics, where everything is discharged, one use only sort of economics, has been very damaging, not only to our country, but to our environment.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. There's we need to pick Adam. BYU beat UCLA.
Dude, I'm a disaster right now. I think BYU will. I think BYU will. I cannot.
Yeah.
I get these. I have great positions on every game today. I can't get the freaking middle.
I'll take UCLA against you.
I think it's a much better matchup for BYU than Michigan State would have been, because UCLA will kind of score with them, and BYU wants to run, and as long as you let them run, they will. I'm very interested to see what the number is. Probably be BYU. I gotta go look at the computer numbers, but it shouldn't be that big of a number.
I'll take UCLA straight up.
All right,
$20. Let's do
all
it.
right, that's fine. We'll do it.
All right. All right.
Now I'm just gonna bet. I'm gonna bet UCLA plus the points on the app to make up for it.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to talk about a betting scenario. I want to see what you guys think. Did you see the exchange the other day between Shaq and Candace Parker?
There's a new one like every day. They've been fighting every night.
So the latest one, I've been trying to pull up the video here for 20 minutes, but it won't come up. The latest one was they were talking about the WNBA, and Shaq threw out there, he goes, you guys can do everything we can on the basketball floor. Maybe if you guys could dunk, that would draw a lot more fans. What about lowering the rim? And Candace Parker immediately was like, no, whoa, no. General thoughts on that. Would the WNBA be a bigger draw if the women were dunking?
No.
Okay.
I mean, this tells you how much I knew about it. I thought they were dunking in the WNBA.
There's like three players. Like three players can do it.
Yeah. I don't think it. I don't think it would. It wouldn't move the needle for me one way or the other.
No, it wouldn't for me, and that's the problem.
Yeah, I don't think it makes any sense.
But I will tell you, there's a couple women's sports that I do like better than the men's side. Number one, I like women's tennis better than men's tennis because I can actually see the ball, and it's not just serve ace.
Yep.
There actually is some volume, and I wouldn't say I like it better, but I like it almost as much. I do like the LPGA Tour because I can relate more to what I see on that TV when I'm watching LPGA. Like the PGA players, the men's players are so good and they hit the ball so far that it's just like I can't even relate. I don't even know what kind of course they're on to make those distances work. But the LPGA, the women are driving it like 250 to 280, 220, some of them. I'm like, yeah, that's where I'm at. I get it. I'm in those ranges. I can understand. Okay. And they have super great form to accomplish those distances. So I like watching women's golf.
It's not even that. They actually have to play like you would, where you watch a PGA tournament and there's a guy the ball is buried between a bunker and a tree, and you're like, oh man, that's gonna be 6 shots to get out of that. And then he spins it around the tree through the bunker, and you're like, all right, it's not even what even is this? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes the men's PGA, it just doesn't make sense. It's just I don't know what game they're playing. I don't know what equipment they got, but it does not penetrate what's going on with my real world observations of what golf is. LPGA does.
You really do look like you just came off the golf course now.
Oh, I literally did. Yeah.
Justin, as a parent of 2 girls, do you feel bad saying that you don't watch really any female sports?
I just said I watch LPGA and women's tennis. What do you mean?
I don't know. Would it be good if you supported the WNBA?
If my girls wanted to go watch the WNBA, I'd totally go. I would buy jerseys. I would, cheer the team on. They don't have any interest in it.
I'm going to try to play the audio here in a second because it was Candace Parker saying no, which I agree with her. Also, it would if it got lower to 9.6 or 9 feet. I mean, I'd say 9.6. The game gets created completely differently, like with the rest of what you do in terms of shooting, right?
Yeah, it changes how like you've been learning to shoot jumpers your whole life, and now you have to shoot at a lower rim. That doesn't make any sense. It would also favor like the certain players in the league, like you think of Brittany Griner, but also there are some pretty big centers in the league who would just be rejecting everything. They're just blocking everything. You have to shoot lower. The whole thing would be so weird. Like I think you can't do something like that. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And as you know, sorry, evolution's a real thing. I know some people don't like to agree with that. It's going to evolve to a point where a bunch of the women are dunking. That's what evolution is.
So it's not good to lower the rim. Why is the 3-point line shorter and why is the ball smaller? Justin, now you're muted.
Yeah. No, I said that's where I'm at on this is, it is a different game already. But I get Adam's point. You got to adjust to the game you've been playing the whole time. So I don't know. I think the women should be able to make their own rules and they should be able to market it however the fuck they want. Like, hey, they want a smaller ball, lower rim, closer 3-point line. Go for it. Knock yourselves out. Like I'm certainly not going to dictate to them how they need to play their game and how they need to market it. So go for it. You want to keep it at 10 feet, keep it at 10 feet. Eventually they're going to have to figure out how to make it a game that a lot of people want to watch. And it just doesn't seem to be that way. But okay. And just to answer a couple of the questions on there, I played Rio Seco today. My average drive is probably somewhere around 240. My long drive today was 292. My short drive today was probably 50 yards. Yeah, I probably plunked it right in front of me somewhere. I can't remember. I hit most of the fairways today, though. I was driving it good today.
You have that much of a swing? Like a swing between your best and worst drive of the day?
Oh, I'm just saying I probably topped it once. I don't remember topping it, but I probably did. No, generally if I hit my driver, it's going to be if I put a bad slice on it, it might be 210. If I hit it straight, it's probably 240, 250. And if I really struck it true, it'll be like 260, 270. And then, like I said, one of them today, I just really hit and it went 292.
I was actually thinking about playing in a couple of weeks. I haven't actually played a full round in probably 15 years.
Let's the three of us go out. I like playing with Cofield.
Well, one of my good friends, actually somebody who's on the show pretty regularly, he took a week off work and he's just having like this blowout week. He's like, we're starting to get back to normal. Like, let's go. He booked 24 tee times.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
It's great. I think it's going to be like comp drinks and comp tee times and everything. It's going to be a good time. And I was like, I might get out there.
That's nice.
I might get out there. Maybe if there's an extra spot, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Well, shout out to the bad guy at Rio Seco. He's a listener. Okay. He recognized me when I laughed, and he was like, "Are you Justin Watkins from the show?" I was like, "What?
That's awesome."
How the fuck did you know that? He's like, "I heard you laugh when you were talking to somebody." I was like, "Yeah, man, that's me."
I signed up for Last Man Standing today over at Stations, and the guy that was he was filling out the form. He was like, good luck. You gonna talk about this on the show? And I was like, oh boy, it never fails.
Oh wow,
just like try to blend in.
It's hard to be
blending in.
It's hard to be Adam Hill in Vegas, man.
It is.
You can't just sneak around and just enjoy yourself.
It's tough. Well, only because like when that happens, what I envision is then they start looking at what you picked, and then they start like, oh, you got it wrong. Like I don't. That's what I don't like, and I'll think about that all week.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
What is Last Man Standing? What's that for March Madness?
Yeah, so you put in a pick every day. So I have 5 picks tomorrow, and if I miss one, so it's 5 entries basically. If I miss one, I'm out. I don't fill out again. Any ones that I get right, I fill out that one again on Saturday. Anything that's right goes on, and you just basically advance. It's either you get it right and you go on, or you get it wrong and you're done, and then you go on to the end. And it was kind of popularized when our friend Mitch Moss actually won it one of the first years in the NFL. He won a lot of money, and now it's grown like exponentially. But yeah, basically if you get 10 straight picks, you'll win. It's $25 per entry. If you buy 4, you get 1 free. So 5 entries for $100.
And you got to get it in before the games start tomorrow.
Yeah, and I also did the Westgate, which is you pick all 28 games this weekend. I know there's 32, but only 28 were set because of the playing games. You pick all 28, and then whoever has the most right out of the 28 wins the whole pot.
Does our little local casino William Hills?
No,
it doesn't have it.
They actually don't have any contests. I asked. It would have been great.
Oh, so
But
I have to go to Westgate.
No. Well, Westgate that one's closed. That one closed at 10:00 tonight. You want the secret on the stations contest?
Yeah.
If you ever wanted to get into stations contest, Wild Wild West.
Yep.
You park right outside. It's just like the truck stop. You park right outside. You walk right in, and you play stations contest.
The old school Wild Wild West on Trop.
Trop and 15. Yeah, it's the same setup as the truck stop.
All right, I think I can make my way there on the way to work. I got to get something. I haven't even filled out a bracket yet. I got to get something going on this. I mean, March Madness used to be my thing. I'd have like 6 different brackets and all these different contests, and I'm researching all the teams, and I have my whole thing. And this year I'm completely out of it.
I was going to throw that out there. I'm only in 2, and I was talking to a friend of ours tonight. I was talking to a friend of ours tonight, and I was like, if anybody has one. If anybody has like a bracket contest, send it. Like I'll get in anything at this point. I just want action. So
normally I do one for my office every year, and I like doing it through CBS because you can alter the scoring. Yeah. And so I always do the round multiplier by a seed. Yeah. So you're encouraged to get off the chalk, and I love doing that, but I just couldn't organize it this year. It's too much work to be the commissioner of that shit.
Wow.
That's the same answer to Brady's question here. It's just it becomes a nightmare.
Yeah.
Brady, but here's the thing. Brady just totally pulled an Ari. Come on, Brady.
Yeah, Brady, you're the producer.
I mean, you come up with it now?
Right.
It's just very disappointing. I don't feel like you're
Brady, get to work.
Come on, man.
Send out the invites. Be quick.
Get it together. All right. Let me I do have to finish my bet, okay? So here I have the sound. This better work. I've been trying to set it up. So this is when Shaq is talking about, hey, lower the rim.
So dope. What's up?
10 years ago, the WNBA game was here. NBA game is here. Now it's here. I have a way to make it equal. Just listen to me now. You ready?
All right.
We've heard it.
Yeah, we've.
So in beach.
By the way, do you want to talk sports or not? This has always been one of my pet peeves. If you're going to be in the sports realm, you can't get all pissed off before the conversation even starts. You can't get insulted. So let's see where this goes. So Candace Parker's like, oh, we already heard it, and there's some white knight on the set. No, we already heard it.
Volleyball, the women's net is maybe half an inch lower. You think if we just lower the rim so y'all could dunk like we dunk, that'll give y'all more oomph than you already have?
No.
I mean, because listen, y'all are doing the step back, the pull back. Y'all doing it.
She's smirking. She's totally annoyed. I should punch up the video. God damn it. Here, hold on. Annoying. All right. Look at the face. God, old man, you are stupid. Now we're watching the whole thing again. Because I got the bets coming up at the end.
So dope. What's up?
10 years ago, the WNBA game was here. NBA game is here. Now it's here. I have a way to make it equal. Just listen to me now. You ready?
All right.
We've heard it.
Yeah, we've.
So in beach volleyball, the women's net is maybe half an inch lower. You think if we just lower the rim so y'all could dunk like we dunk, that'll give y'all more oomph than you already have?
No.
I mean, because listen, y'all are doing the step back, the pull back. Y'all doing everything we're doing, but I don't see a lot of people going up with two hands and, back.
Oh, it's coming. Opportunity is a.
So you don't think if we
Opportunity is
just drop it to 9, 10 and a
Nah.
half?
I
What you
guarantee.
think, Flash?
Layla, she's into dance, but my next child will be drop step dunking. I promise.
I'm still thinking about that move
Telling
that
you.
Coop.
All right. Shaq response at that point. I'll bet you $1 million your next daughter won't be able to drop step dunk at 22 years old. Right now, $1 million.
I mean, I'm going to need.
And by the way, the audience would be they're like, you think the White Knights who stepped up in defense of Candace Parker in the game that got pissed off at Shaq just suggesting dunking? $1 million. You just guaranteed your unborn child. So I'll give you 8 years. I'll give you 8 years to procreate. It's a 30-year bet. $1 million. Does she take the bet? She just guaranteed it. Her daughter will drop, step, dunk.
It'll be really stupid. First of all, she doesn't even know if she's ever going to have a daughter again.
Right?
Also, your kid could be born like with any number of things that would prevent them from doing that.
Correct?
If you give me like, and nobody's ever done it. Like, I'm of the opinion, yes, somebody of her generation. I would make the bet with you. Somebody of her daughter's generation will be doing it.
Okay. But her daughter.
Right. That's if you give me like 2,000 to 1, sure.
Yeah.
Which actually that's still value for you.
Yes.
It's never happened before. But yeah, that's insane to guarantee it.
Justin, how annoyed are you with me bringing this up? Am I a jerk?
I don't know, man. I think I mean they're all trolling you, right? Like I don't want to be trolled. They're putting this on there. They're putting this act out there to get the women out there to side with Candace to go, oh, he's mansplaining. I can't believe that nobody asked this dude to tell us how to make our game better, right? But they're trolling all of us. They're throwing these two out there. They saw how when they started arguing, how it took off on Twitter, and where they created this gender war going on, and now they just keep playing it up. And I don't want to. I don't like being controlled like that. I don't want to fall victim to that. I think it's a stupid conversation. Nobody's asking Shaq shit. Nobody cares what he has to say about how to make a game better. And so why do I care about like debating that opinion?
I do love this bet though, because Adam went exactly the way I was thinking. Candace Parker, her daughter, and she said she's in a dance, is like 8 or 9 or 10 years old, right? She is tall, right? Well, Candace Parker had a kid with Sheldon Williams. Sheldon Williams played in the NBA. Candace Parker's 6'4". Sheldon Williams is 6'8". They got divorced. So as Brady says here, she can't control who she procreates with. Maybe she falls in love with the bagel boss.
First of all, she can control who she procreates with. If she makes this bet, then she's going to like bowl.
And that actually, you're right. Control is not the right word. I was thinking, hey, she's going to be in love with someone, get married, and then have a child. But you're right. She could act. Then that's the other intriguing thing. She could then seek out winning the bet by only having sex unprotected with guys who are 6'10" or bigger. But still, you don't know. It's not a guarantee that her daughter is going to be as tall as her. Her daughter comes out. Eventually, she's 22 years old. She's 5'7". Go ahead and drop step dunk. Let's go. $1 million.
By the way,
30-year bet.
People probably think you're going over the top with this. You have no idea the stipulation that I would want in this, and I can't say it on the air right now. Like, it's so horrific, but I can't even say it.
Yeah.
So, yes, there'd be a lot of rules that went into this thing for sure. I mean, but it's completely insane.
Yes.
It's so dumb. Why would you make that bet? Justin, I just want to go back to the last man standing thing real quick. I was going to ask you this, and I'll get the feedback too from the listeners.
Spudette Webb.
Yeah, perfect. So the last man standing they set the lines at the beginning of the week, right? So if something changes, you can still lock into those lines. So if you were going to do last man standing and you had 5 entries, this was a debate that me and somebody else had today. And I thought it was a really fascinating one. You have 5 entries. One of the lines has moved out of control. So Loyola Chicago is minus 2.5. It's now 6 because Georgia Tech's best player is out. So basically you can lock in a really, really bad line on there. How – that's not even it. It's so much worse than that, Marcus. How would you approach taking Loyola? Like, would you go in and take all 5 of your entries on that? Because, it's not 50-50 at this point. It's like, 70-30. So you're playing the percentages if you put all 5. Do you put all 5 against them? And that way, like, most people are going to be out of the contest if Loyola Chicago doesn't cover, and you still have all your 5 available. Like, that would be a strategy to go with. Or do you put 2 or 3 of them on there, or do you skip them?
I mean, if you felt strongly about that game and felt like the line is now right, then I wouldn't put more than 2 unless I just didn't have any other games I could like. I mean, play the percentages. You got 5 entries, right? If you feel that's a 70-30, there's probably some of the other games that you feel are 55-45 or 60-40,
Right.
something like that. So put 2 of your entries in on that one. That would justify the increased odds you think of success there. But doing all 5, I don't think justifies the risk.
And you wouldn't take all 5 against it?
I think I would do 2 for, 1 against, and then I got 2 other ones out there because then my 1 against is looking great.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I think the majority of people are going to use their ticket on them. We came up with 2 was the proper answer. That's what we decided. So that's what we both did with ours. So
I think that's the mathematical answer, right? I mean, based on the line movement, I think that correlates.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, for sure. That's what I thought it was 2 or 3 was the appropriate number.
Did you do any against?
No. I thought of doing all 5. I was like, listen, if you lose, you lose. It's $100. If you win it, you're in a really good position to go on. And probably not a whole lot of people have their entries left. So I consider doing all 5 against Loyola.
Maybe I'll go do 10 entries, 5 for, 5 against.
5 max. 5 max.
Oh, you can't do 2 different entries?
No, you can only it's one entry, and if you buy 4, you get 1 free. But 5 is max, because what you would do is you would buy enough so that you can just play both sides of every game all the way to the end of the tournament.
Right.
And guarantee that you'd still be standing at the end. So it's 5 max, which I like. I'm glad that it's not more. And I know there's syndicates and stuff that actually do try to buy up a bunch of entries and just do it that way. Like, we're gonna assemble 20 people, get 100 entries, and just play the opposite side of every game. That annoys me. But yeah, you could get another person, get the wife, and as Ray said there, get the other 5. 2.
Get the kids in there, stacked on top of each other with a trench coat.
2 is what we settled on, though. So that's where I'll be if they get through. Yeah, both sides.
Let's do it.
All right,
I don't know if I'll make it there in time tomorrow.
Yeah,
you better get in. All right, like I said, that'll wrap it. We're out. We're back tomorrow with Dave Koken, and hope everyone has fun tomorrow. We'll be down at the Westgate, so if you want to stop by, we're watching at the Westgate. We'll be doing a live show. Von Tobel's the company. John Murray's joining us. Maybe Adam will be there as well. So Westgate tomorrow, that's the spot. Come down to the Westgate to hang out and watch the games. Looking forward to it.